Greetings, welcome back, or welcome for the first time. I hope you guys are all good. I was just checking out a bit of this Life magazine from way back in 1969, when we apparently left for the moon. I also have one from on the moon. And I came by these magazines at a car boot sale. And a car boot sale, for those of you who don't know, I don't know if these are kind of popular in other parts of the world. And yeah, they're where people go with their car and their boot is full of stuff, their trunk is full of stuff. And yeah, they get out tables and they kind of have a big kind of yard sale in a field somewhere. And yeah, one day I went out to one of these car boot sales. I wasn't particularly kind of conspiratorial minded, and I came across these magazines, and yeah, they're really wonderful, you know, in many ways. Not just to do with the moon stuff, but all the advertisements for the technology of the day, these Apollo cameras and these Marlboro cigarettes. They've got a really great one in here for one for travellers checks, you know, because you need safe money. Don't monkey around with vulnerable cash. And then this transoceanic radio. Wow, that's awesome. I'd love one of those now. Anyway, yeah, so little things popping up in our reality, synchronicities, as they are termed, or as they were termed by Carl Gustav Jung. And yeah, whenever I tend to kind of stop looking for synchronicities or Mandela effects or matrix glitches or reality shifts or weirdness in my reality, oftentimes that's when things tend to get even more weird. Or when I'm about to kind of do a 180 and just go, this is all nonsense, something will happen to capture my imagination again, or this guy will show up and say, hey, come with me. It's a really great rabbit hole for us to go down. And this week's been really full on for me. I've been getting loads of kind of weird, kind of otherworldly messages through all manner of formats and accents and voices and styles. I'm going on an adventure tomorrow, and I'd like you guys to join me. I'm going away to Wiltshire, which is the Vale of Pewsey. They've got a big white horse on the hill. That's got a massive message in it to me. It's right on a ley line, a particular place where I'm going to kind of take the camera, if it works this time. None of my cameras worked last time I was there. My phone died. It was all quite bizarre but fitting. Yeah, lots and lots of synchronicities went on there. And I'm being called back there. And I'm being called back there by a bloody rock, you know. And I've got to just be me and just kind of express this as it's coming out. But yesterday, the rabbit hole that I went down, I would like to share with you, because I'm kind of still a little way down that rabbit hole, and you may like to join me. But I decided to have a day off of kind of research or conspiracy or meditation or yoga or any of these endeavours. I decided to kind of have an opposite day, as it were. And I had a McDonald's. And I've been toying around with that idea for a little while. And I don't know why. It just came up. Have a McDonald's. And I mentioned in a video, a couple of videos back, that the last year, 18 months for me, I've been really casual with my diet. I've been drinking a bit of Coca-Cola, or quite a bit of Coca-Cola, and eating a bit of chocolate, and not much else. I have to add that I do also drink raw milk, although I haven't been able to get my raw milk for, a couple of months now. So, and I'm really beginning to see just how important that was if I was indeed to eat these other things. But yeah, yesterday I decided to kind of have a day off because everything got a bit too much. The universe was talking a little bit too loud for my liking. So we went and got a McDonald's, and I sat down and I started to eat my McDonald's, and it tasted fine. I wasn't really adverse to it. I had a little bit of a worry because of the previous time that I'd had a McDonald's. The next day, my kidneys were killing me. My body ached. I felt really kind of not well. But at that time, this is about 4, maybe 5 years ago. No, in fact, this is 6 years ago when I had a McDonald's last time. And before that, I hadn't had a McDonald's or any food of that nature for a long while. I was, I was a fruitarian, mostly a fruitarian at the time. I didn't eat a great deal. I did a lot of meditation. I was doing yoga every day, practiced urine therapy. I was totally kind of clean living. And I had this McDonald's, and the next day it absolutely fucking floored me. I had like two of the little double cheeseburgers from the Saver menu, some fries and a Coke. And the next day I felt ruined from it. But this time round, I feel great today. I'm not going to go out and start eating McDonald's every day, but it was in a way, it enabled me to debunk myself, which is the process I'm going through. But as I was sat down eating my McDonald's, I flicked on the TV. Yet again, something else that I don't really do regularly anymore. If at all. Weeks can go by where I don't even watch TV unless one's on in another room. And then I only kind of catch glimpses of it, and some of those glimpses can be really, really spooky. But yesterday, I sat down and Red Dwarf was on, the sci-fi show from England. And the episode was called Entangled. First of all, it was called Entangled. And I don't think I've seen a lot of this. This was the final series, I think. The final season. I don't even know when this was from. But, so it's one of the later series. I saw all the earlier series when I was younger. And I've been watching them on and off when it's been on TV. And some of the things that come out of these shows just knock my socks off. So anyway, first of all, it's called Entangled because the cat and Crichton, I was going to say Cryon, I wonder if that's why he named himself Cryon, or I wonder if that's why Cryon told that dude to whatever. Anyway, Crichton and the cat become entangled, and they both keep saying in unison, "What a coincidence!" And it was making me laugh because it was, what a coincidence, what a coincidence, what a coincidence. And then they picked up a book called The Root of Coincidence by a guy called Arthur Koestler. And I knew straight away that I was getting a message, or that was the invitation to the tea party, that was the, this guy coaxing me down the rabbit hole. So I started to look up Arthur Koestler, who was a big fan of Carl Gustav Jung. Carl Jung. And his synchronicity idea or posit or philosophy or thesis or... that whole thing. It was to do with synchronicity. So it was a synchronicity in itself. I I found his name somewhat familiar, but as I delved into kind of more information on him, I was tumbling down the rabbit hole. He, the same book that was featured in this Red Dwarf episode was also in V for Vendetta. Somebody's reading a copy of this book. And Sting, the musician, who is actually an adept or... but my yoga teacher's yoga teacher taught Sting also. So he's kind of part of my lineage, as are a few other people that I don't really want to name. Paul Simon. There we go. Danny Paradise, that's my yoga teacher's name. Not a guru or anything like that. He's a really cool guy from California. Check him out. I think he's got a few kind of music videos and stuff. But yeah, so Sting was also there. And Sting has popped up a few times throughout my kind of reality, but never really caught my attention. I quite like the Police's music. I quite like Sting as a person, you know. He's very much about the path. I like the fact that when his accountant had been ripping him off, he had no idea. It's like millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds that this guy ripped him off, and he had no idea about it. I guess he's got plenty, but I mean the sort of people that know every penny they've got, I don't think they're ever comfortable. You know, I don't think people with lots of money are ever really that comfortable. So to be that comfortable that you're not going to miss, I don't know how many million it was. I haven't done my research, like always. But so Sting popped up, and he was a big fan of Arthur Koestler also. So much so that he renamed an album Ghost in the Machine after another Koestler book. And that name really jumped out at me. So check that out. And there's a film by the same name from 1993 called Ghost in the Machine. So I got a copy of that yesterday. And my word, you know, I just couldn't believe the amount of synchronicities that were jammed into one film that it was I'm still speechless now. They had what did it talk about? Yeah, there was a quip about electricity not being free. Really resonated with me. Big maybe that was a sign. I live right next to a supposed power station anyway. They had VR, virtual reality headsets and virtual reality games and stuff. 1993 this was. And a scanner. Remember those scanners that you scanned over? Don't you probably buy one now for 15, 20 bucks or whatever it is with a printer as well. But this was 1993. And when I read the synopsis for the film, or the kind of the description of the film, the plot, it talked about how this guy, this serial killer, had died while he was inside an MRI scanner. And somehow he got into the electrical grid, or because the web didn't really exist back then, you know. He goes after people, and he uses electronic devices, you know. But the things that he's talking about, there's one part of it where it's where they're trying to track it's not a cell phone, it's a car phone. I'm sure it's a car phone. But the way they're doing it, it's not triangulation. It's and this was a nice little synchronicity for me today. It's hexagonal. The graphics that they were using, because obviously this film's from like the 90s. I'm sure they were hexagons. And I saw this. Can't even tell if that's a hexagon or an octagon. Yeah, up in the corner of that picture. Light flare. That's from, I think that's Neil Armstrong's wife. But yeah, so there was that in the movie. The There was a particle accelerator in the movie, and the way that they actually killed the bad dude in the end was by sucking him into the particle accelerator and blowing him into what they said was a million pieces of nothing. And that was another thing that jumped up at me. There's no such thing as nothing, you know. But and it was Karen Allen that was the main protagonist in the movie, and I'm a big proponent of that. Looking at certain actors or actresses and looking at the previous films they've done, and it's very telling, kind of the subject matter that they kind of the movies that they do. Because obviously, if synchronicities are true in my life, then synchronicities must be true in their lives. And if they're indeed going to work to shoot a movie that's talking about a certain concept, then maybe, I don't know, I'm just supposing here. But anyway, yeah, so obviously Karen Allen, she also did Starman. And I've got to watch that again. It's kind of led me back in that direction. She did another movie that was kind of like a cyberpunky type movie. Obviously, she did Indiana Jones as well. But yeah, this movie and when I was looking at the technology in this movie, and I was kind of thinking back to when I was first using this technology, and how I believed it to be kind of so impossible, you know. But now it's just taken for granted, you know, or now I just kind of take these things somewhat for granted. But I always have this eerie feeling that technology isn't real. You know, there's something that just isn't real about it, or it's yesterday's news, a lot of the stuff that we're privy to. But spiritual technology, you know, whatever that is, or advanced intelligence, you know, are they able to just manipulate a film, you know, before your very eyes and tell you a totally different story? Or was that message always embedded in that film? And if so, what are the chances that you happen to be sitting down thinking those thoughts and then seeing an entire film that's like 25 years old, kind of telling you about stuff that's happening right this moment, you know, and that's just a part of this rabbit hole, you know. That's just a little kind of burrow off of this rabbit hole. I haven't even listened to the Sting album yet. I've only watched the film once. I have to do a close watching on it, but there's so much stuff in there that just yeah, it was magical, you know. And this is all part of my current Yellow Brick Road. I'm off to Wiltshire in the Vale of Pewsey, which is kind of near Stonehenge and Avebury Stone Circle and lots of other mystical sites. And I'm off there to get, like I say, a piece of rock. Well, it's actually a tektite. It's called Moldavite. I keep wanting to call it kryptonite. But yeah, I first encountered this stone a few years back, and I tried to hint to my father to buy me a piece of this moldavite. It's quite expensive, and like I said, it was a few days before Christmas because we went up for the for December 21st. It was a full moon that year, so it's a couple of years back. And my dad's not really into any of that, you know. He's not really open-minded to crystals and healing or any of these things. I still remain somewhat kind of neutral with it, you know. I'm not. I know that people do believe and people have had experiences, but I myself am the forever skeptic. You know, I'm Thomas the Doubter. If I don't feel something, then I'm not going to get convinced, you know. Or assured. I think assured's a better word for that. But this stone, ever since I come into contact with it, has been calling me. And my dad, like I say, he's not into these sort of things. But he bought loads of stuff. He bought like 90 quid's worth of kind of crystals and white sage and chakra beads and these sacred geometry pages. He bought like Christmas gifts for other people, mainly his twin sister, who is very open-minded to these sort of things. But yeah, I thought he'd go back and get me this piece of Moldavite. But he didn't, you know, and I didn't want to buy it for myself for some reason. You know, it's all beginning to make sense though, some kind of weird, screwy sense. But yeah, Moldavite's popped up and popped up and popped up and popped up. It's too many times for me to ignore. Every other video I watch, somebody is mentioning Moldavite. I could be watching something on cooking or gardening or whatever, and something will come up about Moldavite. So I know that I have to go and get some of this stone, get a piece of this stone. And the area, the experiences that I've had when I've gone to this particular part of the world, have just been so full on. It's taken me almost this much time to kind of really digest it, I guess. Be ready to go back. The last time I went, my cameras didn't work. My mobile phone died off, or the battery went, or I didn't use my mobile phone. It was really weird. I didn't have any of these devices kind of functioning last time I was there. But all this other stuff that was going on was just full on. It was just a little bit too much even for me. And I'm a fan of the weird. I'm a big fan of the weird. But yeah, ever since I've kind of said, okay, I'm going to go back, events have conspired to make that possible, make that happen. And I'm going away with my father, and we're going to stay in a hobbit hut, a hobbit hole, like a little hobbit house type thing. It's somewhere between a tent and a camping pod, but it's called a hobbit pod. I've only recently just watched Lord of the Rings, or started to, because things like that have got so much information in them, I can't take that in while I've got other stuff going on. This rabbit hole that I've just kind of started stumbling down now with Arthur Koestler and Ghost in the Machine and virtual reality and particle accelerators and Right, I'm going to leave you with a quick theory because this has run on a little bit longer than I anticipated. What's inside is outside. Within you, you have a Hadron Collider, you have a particle accelerator, and you have two energies, Shiva and Shakti. You've already heard this story. And when these two energies smash against one another, I believe that's when you shift into another reality, or when we shift into other realities. You know, when we learn to kind of harmonise those energies and indeed have that kind of marriage. I felt that, you know, in meditation. I felt these two energies, and it is indeed kind of a balancing act. And I do indeed have those moments where, I feel like I've just arrived in another reality. And I very much feel myself, going through some sort of transformation. And the more I learn about this Moldavite, weird. Anyway, I hope you guys are good. I hope you made some kind of sense out of this. Please check out Red Dwarf, Entangled. And if you get entangled, check out Arthur Koestler. Then go on and check out Ghost in the Machine. Then go on and check out the Sting album, Ghost in the Machine. He's also got an album called Synchronicity. Do check out Danny Paradise, Now That the Shamans Have Planes. I love that tune he did. I'm being called back to yoga. I'm being called to Stonehenge, to Wiltshire, to Avebury, to the Crystal Shop. I really overwhelmed. But hopefully I'm going to be able to take you guys with me this time. So until then, take care and keep being you.